All right, y'all, it is 3:40. Hello, everyone. It's digital host A.J. Wuest here, welcoming you back to Before the Four. Of course, the live stream where I go through some of 48's top news stories, and then some before our 4 o'clock newscast. I say it every day, wherever you're watching Before the Four this afternoon, whether it's on Facebook, YouTube, or the 48 Now live stream. As always, thank you so much for watching and spending just a bit of your Tuesday afternoon here. Now, I say we dive into some of the day's top stories, shall we? And let's begin in South Huntsville this afternoon, where a woman arrested for reckless murder over the death of a Huntsville boy hit while riding his bicycle is now free on bond. Now, who you see on screen right here is Sarah Olson. She is now charged in the death of 13-year-old Cal Fox. Police say Cal was riding his bicycle at the intersection of Bailey Cove Road and Green Mountain Road back on August 5th. Investigators say they found substances in Olson's car that could impair her driving. And of course, 48's Faith Delp will have the latest on this situation coming up in our evening newscast, so make sure to stick around. But with that, let's talk about the weather here in the Tennessee Valley. Let's turn it over to 48 First Alert meteorologist Jada Russell for the latest. Jada?
We're expecting a really nice afternoon, but as we get closer to the evening and sunset hours, we're going to start to see temperatures dropping off into those 60s. Still rather comfortable, but we're going to see some cloud cover increasing overnight tonight. Then rain chances kicking into the forecast as we get closer to midnight and those overnight hours going into our Wednesday. Wednesday morning is going to prove to see a couple of showers as you head out the door, but should be dry most of the day ahead. And then as we get to Thursday and Friday, those are our days with the heaviest chance of rain, especially Friday. Could see some lightning and storms at times. So far, not thinking anything severe, but just enough to make sure that you are driving safely and put a little impact in your day. So we're keeping that rain chance around as we see the stationary front move off by Thursday into Friday. Now, the stationary front is causing our temperatures to be unseasonably warm. So we did have a warm front moving through and it finally lifted. However, it's kind of grasping on to the last few straws of that, giving us an opportunity to see temperatures around the 70s and above. Today's high was about 74, 75 for some areas, and tomorrow's high 75. Thursday expect to be 77, and that's when we'll get a little close to some of those record-breaking numbers that we typically don't really want to see, but we'll come across that in the next few days. But Friday, we get that heavy rain chance. Rain-cooled air is going to move into the valley. We're going to get some cooler conditions going into the weekend, getting us back to somewhat seasonal conditions, those upper in 60s. So we'll see that going into the weekend and beyond for your holiday week. Unfortunately, we're expecting to see some rain chances in and around most of our holidays going into Thursday, I should say. So we'll keep that around, and Thursday shaping up to be quite chilly. We're expecting to see temperatures in those mid 50s. So bundle up. Start taking out some sweaters maybe as you get ready to visit your family and friends. It's going to be a cooler Thanksgiving. And then as we get to the back half of that week, we've got Black Friday, we've got Iron Bowl, that Sunday and beyond. We're kind of back into our season average for this time of year. Those mid and upper 50s expected for those next couple of days.
All right, well, good deal. You heard it here first, Jada Russell. And also, if you're watching at home right now, you probably already know the drill, but 48 First Alert Weather Extra. We live stream that every single weeknight at 9:30. Of course, Jada Russell will be back here in the streaming center. She'll pull up the radar and she'll have all the latest going on across the Tennessee Valley and weather. You can watch it wherever you're watching Before the Four right now, and you're just not going to want to miss it. Feel free to leave a comment, any thoughts, concerns you might have. Jada Russell will shout you out, and she'll work to find that answer for you. So, again, tonight at 9:30, First Alert Weather Extra. You're just not going to want to miss it. But now, it's back to work for federal workers here in Huntsville after the shutdown finally came to its end. But union leaders here in North Alabama say federal workers are more stressed than ever. 48's Faith Delp with more.
Federal workers had been overwhelmed with stress for weeks now without pay. Now they're back at work, but money is still a stressor. And on top of that, the underlying fear of another government shutdown.
Morale is very low, extremely low, and they're very concerned about their workload.
Local union president Abner Merriweather spoke to many federal employees about their workload after the shutdown. Back pay is coming through all at once, making their taxes skyrocket, and their job security feels significantly lower than last year. Merriweather believes they don't deserve to have any of these fears.
They're always dedicated, always been dedicated, and putting the mission first. And I just think that they should be treated with more dignity and with respect. They are federal workers, they are good federal workers.
He adds he wouldn't be surprised if there was another shutdown come January 31st when the new healthcare premium decision needs to be made. He said most federal employees can't handle another shutdown. But during this historical shutdown, he saw the Huntsville community come together for furloughed employees like no other. But he wants to see more done from our leaders.
Put into law that employee, whether that be a furlough or continue to work, will continue to get paid. I think that's a simple solution. These crises that employees are going through right now is just, it will be resolved.
I did reach out to Representative Dale Strong for a comment to reassure any federal employees right now, but I haven't received anything back yet. Merriweather advises any federal employee to set aside at least one paycheck right now in case of another shutdown. Reporting in Huntsville, Faith Delp 48 News on your side.
And now staying in Huntsville, where police recently arrested and charged a man in connection with a shooting that left another man injured. Nick Ballinger with those details.
A shooting in Madison County led to the arrest of this man, 32-year-old Kirsten Dwayne Matkins. Deputies say two men were planning to meet someone they met online, and instead of the person they expected to see, Matkins showed up instead. Investigators say Matkins shot one of the men multiple times, critically injuring him before taking off. 2 days later, Matkins was arrested and charged with aggravated assault, not attempted murder. Chief Deputy District Attorney Tim Gann.
Attempted murder is a whole lot different because you have to prove the intent to kill. You have to prove that somebody is actually trying their best to kill another person. For it to be an assault first, you have to have two things. You have to have serious physical injury and you have the use of a deadly weapon.
If found guilty of attempted murder, you could be facing a life sentence versus a 20-year max on an aggravated assault charge. He says it's not uncommon for an assault charge to be handed down first while an investigation plays out.
What happens is a lot of times it's charged initially assault first because those elements are real easy to prove, and then as the investigation continues and before it gets to the grand jury, sometimes that charges are upped at the grand jury.
Matkins has been charged with aggravated assault before. He didn't serve prison time, citing self-defense and the victim not cooperating with the investigators.
And with that story, we're going to head to break, but coming up after the break, we'll go through a few more stories in case you missed them. Drones coming up clutch for the Madison County Sheriff's Office, and taking a look at report cards at Albertville City Schools. It's all ahead. We'll go through it all in 1 minute. All right, the break is over, y'all. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Before the Four. Now, let's talk about drones. They're really helping the Morgan County Sheriff's Office keep the community safe. 48's Callie Neese shares a story about how that technology helped find 2 teenagers lost in the woods. Let's take a look.
Sheriff Ron Puckett told me they are using drones for everything from chasing fugitives to locating 2 missing teens. Earlier this month, Sheriff Puckett told me deputies got a call about 2 teens lost in the woods after their ATV became stuck. Patrol deputies used a drone to find them. He said before they had the drones, they would have to do searches like this by requesting a helicopter, on foot, or by using a 4-wheeler, and that could take a long time. Now they use drones equipped with many different tools like thermal cameras, so they can easily find lost people or suspects on the run when using these cameras at night.
We have a drone now that we can put inside a home. If we're trying to do a search of a home, it can fly in the home, which is amazing that we have that kind of technology. It puts us eyes inside a residence or inside a home if we're looking for a fugitive or just safety of somebody that we not think is in a home.
Puckett adds they plan to keep evolving with technology as it becomes more capable because it can help save time and save lives of not just the community, but deputies too.
You know, it helps with officer safety. The drone program does. If they are going to a scene that could be dangerous, they'll put drones in the air and fly over the scene, get an aerial view of what's going on, and try to make a better planned decision on how to approach the scene. So it does provide us officer safety.
Sheriff Puckett says right now they have 6 drone pilots and several other deputies in training to become drone pilots. Reporting in Decatur, Callie Neese, 48 News, on your side.
And finally, heading out to Albertville, 48's Will Eldridge reports on report cards in the school district after it received a failing grade despite improvements to the district. Let's take a listen.
Superintendent Dr. Bart Reeves tells me this boils down to important scores being left out of the Innovation Academy's grade. He says that because this was a brand new school, they were missing things like a graduation rate and college career readiness scores that would have boosted the average up. Each school's score is a weighted average of stats. Dr. Reeves says the school's graduation rate and college career readiness scores ended up being around 98%. Had those scores been available when the state collected the data, the Innovation Academy's overall score would have gone from an F to a C.
They're working hard daily because they want that A, and if they're at a C, they want that B. And I promise you, A out of 54, they're going to bounce back, and we're going to see a high C, if not a B next year.
Albertville City Schools' overall grade was an 87, up 4 points from last year. Most schools in the district also improved their individual scores. Dr. Reeves says they are working hard to boost scores by improving attendance and better class sizes, and they believe in the results.
Every decision needs to be based on what's best for kids. Obviously, outside of student safety will always be number 1, but number 2 better be student achievement. And if our staff remains engaged and they're working hard for our kids and our kids are working hard, I promise you we're going to keep going in that northeasterly direction.
Dr. Reeves tells me he is grateful to his staff and wants to remind everyone that November is Thank a Teacher Month, and they deserve thanks for the score improvement. Reporting in Albertville, Will Eldridge, 48, on your side.
And with that, let's go into the stories you're just not going to want to miss coming up in our evening newscast. The latest on the release of the Epstein files after a bill passed the House today. Water issues in Rogersville, 48's Aria Pons will have the latest on that. And finally, details on a state meeting on whether Alabama Public Television will continue to air PBS programming. And these are just a few of the stories you're just not going to want to miss coming up in our evening newscast. And I apologize, y'all. We do not have a 48 Facebook question this afternoon. If I'm being completely honest with you, I've been running around the newsroom this afternoon, and I did not make the time to ask or post a question for today. So no Facebook fun this afternoon, so make sure to stay tuned to tomorrow's Before the 4. Again, that starts at 3:40 tomorrow. We'll have a Facebook question for tomorrow. But again, I apologize. I know you're all looking forward to Facebook fun, but do not have one this afternoon. But again, stay tuned to tomorrow's Before the 4. I'll have a question, I promise, and y'all better hold me accountable for that. If there's not a question tomorrow, I want to hear y'all in the comments for sure. Where is the Facebook question? But y'all, that is just about all she wrote for today's Before the 4. But I want to thank you all for sticking around, spending a bit of your your Tuesday afternoon here. I hope you all enjoy tonight's evening newscast. Do something fun with the family tonight. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You all have a great night.